New Age Parenting, presented.
Hello and a very warm welcome to New Age Parenting. So much has changed in the Indian education pattern, if we look at it, particularly in school, in last 25 years or so. The change is there in the patterns, the change is there in the outlook of the teachers and schools, and of course the boards as well. A lot of inputs from international schools have also come in, and we as Indians are trying to actually incorporate traditional and modern technologies in our educational system. In fact, a lot of schools are moving from teacher-centric or teaching-centric to child-centric and learning-centric. But as we always say, learning is important in every aspect. And is every change always right? Maybe, at times when we are in this transformation mode, some changes may not be right. So do we have the capacity to come back and actually start afresh? These are the few things which we would be talking in today's episode, especially in our soul searching. But before we move towards soul searching, there is a special message for all the kids and of course parents also from Havaldar Kadak Singh. Let's hear him out.
ये है हवलदार कड़क सिंह की सड़क।
रुका। हाँ जी, थोड़ा अपना प्यारा सा मुखड़ा दिखाना शीशे के बाहर झाँक के हैं।
जी कहिए। अरे ये क्या कर रहे हो?
और मेरे भाई, और जिस चीज का कोई फायदा नहीं उसको रखने का फायदा क्या? तो तेरे पास चश्मा होते हुए तेरे को रेड लाइट नहीं दिखती तो फायदा की?
पर रोड तो खाली थी, कोई था ही नहीं।
तो ये क्या बात हुई भाई? हैं? तो इसका मतलब तो ये है कि दुकान पर अगर मालिक नहीं होगा तो तुम बिना पूछे उसका सामान उठाओगे। कोई बॉस नहीं होगा ऑफिस में तो तुम उसकी कुर्सी पे सो जाओगे। तो रोड पे कोई हो न हो, सड़क के नियम कायदे कानून कभी नहीं टूटेंगे। और वैसे भी ये तो है मेरी सड़क और मुझे कहते हैं हवलदार कड़क।
रेड लाइट होने पर हमें अपनी गाड़ी रोक लेनी चाहिए और उसे ग्रीन होने पर ही आगे बढ़ना चाहिए। ऐसा न करके हम अपनी और दूसरों की जान खतरे में डाल सकते हैं। ब्रह्मा कुमारी द्वारा जनहित में जारी।
In our soul searching segment today, we have the privilege to have Ms. Sanyogita Sharma, who is the director of Manav Rachna Schools and also the principal of Manav Rachna School, Chelmsford, Faridabad. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
In fact, today what we are trying to actually explore and find out the journey of this transition of education system in schools especially. And you've had the experience of 25 years. And I think in these 25 years only, a lot of things have changed. So how would you see this journey, this transformation?
I'll say that it's been very, very evolving, very, very constructive and very fruitful journey, which has seen, the focus being changed now. It's a total paradigm shift when I look at education areas and particularly school education. Initially, when we were also students and when I was a teacher, it was totally teacher-centric. It was a teacher who would plan her teaching in the classroom. She would plan all those 35 to 40 minutes. This is what she is going to do. This is what the children should do. And this is the way children should behave. This is what they should be writing in their notebooks. So learning was not the focus. So the major change that I see is that from teacher-centric onwards, we are now moving on to child-centered way of looking at. And the focus is shifting from teaching to learning. We were talking about only the textual subjects. Academics was the focus. But now life skills, conceptual understanding has become the focus. So the focus now has shifted from mere theory, memorizing only, to memorizing, recalling, understanding, analyzing, then creating something. Today we are not talking about one particular place, we are talking about global. It is no more global and local also, it's become global. So everything is global now. The child sitting here in India, sitting in Faridabad, knows what is happening in America. Right? For example, the other day I had a Skype video conferencing of my children, primary school, with the children in a UK school. So they were discussing what do you eat in India, and the Indian school children said, we eat every Indian food like pizza, burger, this.
So that that has become the Indian
those children sitting there knew about samosas and gulab jamuns. So this is, kind of exposure, things available. So it's all local now, so children know.
That's so
now
sweet.
the things being presented is a much more comprehensive way.
What do you say? It started 15 years ago, 17 years ago, and then it has, it's still in the process?
Yes.
Or have we reached a stage where we can say that this is it, or we're still evolving?
No, we haven't still reached the stage where we say this is it. We are evolving, we are in the process. And I think teachers now are more sensitive to children's requirements. They plan their lessons keeping their target group in mind now. It's no more a general lesson plan for all the 35-40 children sitting in the class. So they are aware that if I have these 35-40 children sitting in my class, they are all different. Maybe something which I have planned, my 10 children don't need this. 10 won't be able to do this, but still I'm planning the same. So she has this thought in her and she keeps things ready for each child. That's the change I am finding, and with a lot of technology coming in the classrooms, so we are able to address the multiple intelligences that the children have.
If we talk about the new age schools and the new technologies, the newness in the education system, the whole pattern, what do you feel, the traditional schools and the new age schools, where are the differences?
See, the difference earlier, when we talk about the traditional schools, there we take the teacher only as a source of knowledge, teacher only as a source of information in the class. But that is not the case now. There are sources of knowledge, sources of information available everywhere with the children as well. So it has become a responsibility of hers that whatever information the children are gathering, she needs to give them an art and a skill and an understanding to sift through that information, to how to trace the relevant one, what to take, what not to take, and how to move with that. So that is an added thing that has come in. This is a change that has come in.
There was another, feeling with the general masses that we are not taught art of thinking, the right thinking.
Yes.
Of course, think we are all doing, it's a natural process, but conscious thinking, are we now focusing on that process?
That has changed, because now when we are talking about different interventions, how we think about education. Now the teachers today are aware of Bloom's taxonomy, which is raising the bar, raising the temperature in your classroom learning. Right? When I say raising the temperature, that means cold questions. Cold questions is you're asking the children questions which have set answers, you already provided them, but you're giving them open-ended questions where they think and this is the way I interpret this. Yeah, there's a lot of scope in that. Now, it's not limited to simply recall, understand and give it. It is also moving on to analyzing that, summarizing that, and coming out with something new,
Something more creative, yeah.
So there's a scope for the children to move on with all levels of learning. So that's what I find that it's happening.
The biggest change which has come in is the role of a teacher.
Yeah.
Like in Indian history, if we look at it, it has always been considered as, next to God. In fact, at times, bigger than God, because He is the source who connects you to the divine. But there came a time when, it had become fixed and rigid. Today, if we look at it, teacher is again just not the source of knowledge.
Yes.
Who is a teacher today, and how should a teacher be?
Teacher today is a multitasking person. Gone are the days when somebody would say that if you can't be something, become a teacher.
Become a teacher, yeah.
Become a teacher, because it's easy to be a teacher. But it's not this today. Teacher is a multitasking person, multidimensional, has to be 24/7 in thinking about education, about her children. She has to be counselor. She has to be like a mother at times. She has to be competent with the subject that she's taking. She has to be, you can say, at par, updated with technology.
What we can understand, there's a lot a teacher needs to understand and actually act on. Sanyukta ji, we were talking about the changing role of today's teachers in schools and in the child's life, and the way we can make out there is a lot on the shoulders of the teacher, she has to be, or he has to be really equipped. Are the teachers getting equipped? That nurturing and the healing part, that healing nature and the nurturing nature of the person, it can be a male or a female.
Yes.
Do we go for that aptitude test when we take the teachers? Is something like that is there?
Yes. So when we take teachers, when you talk to a person, you put the person to some kind of a situation, I think you can make out, because the teacher has to have that compassion, has to, be that capacity and capability and kindness enough to get into the shoes of the children and realize. Now, for getting into the shoes of the child, she needs to remove her shoes first. And it is not only professional training, it is your humanistic approach towards teaching and education, which we at Manavrachna, we definitely are seriously concerned with these qualities of a teacher, because it's prerequisite for being a teacher.
Yeah, that's very true. Like if we look at in today's scenario, each one of us as adults are going through so much of stress, pressure, stress, fear, all these things are part of our lives. And for a teacher, this is a big responsibility. How about her healing process? Are there workshops to really take care of them?
We do not treat our teachers only as the ones to execute some planning or do this. So they are part of all plannings. So they know this is what is the planning, this is how it is to be done, because ultimately we see that it's the teacher who is going to impart, who is going to transact to the children. She better understands her children, so she gets that space and gets that freedom. So it's not kind of a binding on her that this has to be finished. It's she who decides. It's she who decides. So if she is involved into this decision making, I think teachers' pressure is taken off. And I put it across to my children and my teachers as well, that you can all commit mistakes, but new mistake every time.
Yeah, this should not be repeated.
New mistake
That's
every
true.
time,
Yes.
right?
Okay, well informed, demanding, and are looking for perfection.
Yes,
because
looking
that's
for perfection.
What,
Yes.
that's what actually we would like to do for our kids.
Yes.
But the trust factor,
Yes.
all these things can be achieved.
Yes.
But it has to come with the mutual trust.
Trust and credibility.
Yes.
Change needs in communicating to the parents, making the parents move with us, right? So the schools are doing their job well, but how well are we putting it across to our parents? How well are the parents counseled about? Because parents also
Receiving
needing
it.
a lot of counseling, lot of orientation. They are very well informed about theory, but when it comes to the actual practices of the school, the parents have to be with us. At times, there are gaps. There are gaps. So maybe they're looking at something that the teacher hasn't done this for my child. But once we arrange a meeting and they discuss, they find out that the teacher is doing a fair enough, good enough job.
Another aspect which I would like to talk, which we have talked in this show a lot of times, is about these new age kids. You have been part of different age groups, and for the last 25 years you have seen the transition in the children. So what do you feel about these new age kids?
I find these children very well informed, better equipped, more open-minded, more expressive, and they want reason for things. Earlier there were children, because as I said, the teacher was the only source of knowledge. What the teacher would say, they took it and they were happy with that. All yes, and trying to please the teachers. But today the child would like to validate, because he knows much. Maybe he knows much more than what the teacher has given, right? And then since he is exposed to so many things, and local, as I say, the whole world he knows about, he can make connections. So maybe the teacher is giving them one line, he has 10 more lines to.
But that's okay,
Yeah. So which is, I find, very, very positive with children. These are all the positive things that I find with children.
They are much more holistic.
Yes.
And they have bigger missions related to maybe the universe, the world, and the changes they want to bring in, and they're very sure of it. How much do you relate
That is what I find with the parents coming into me and telling me he is not studying at home, but when I look at his marks, he's doing it well. I said, then what's the problem? So the parents today are looking at things with their own set of notions, that he should be sitting for 6 hours, but the children are relaxed in the sense that they are not going in for cutthroat competitions these days. They are better exposed to things. The parent, maybe he is not. So it's a kind of contradiction also coming. Now today only, before coming here, I had a parent of grade 12th. So he came to me that you must call him every week and tell him that he should study 10 hours. I said, what is wrong? Is there anything wrong happening? He says, no, he is scoring well, he's doing well, but I want him to, be sitting down.
But
with
he's
his
not
books.
studying.
He's not studying. He's not sitting down. He says, what do you mean by not studying? Every time you tell him, take whatever he should have done with that. If he has his own plans, he has planned that maybe when you are sleeping, you're not home, he's studying. If he's scoring, he's doing well, and I see in school that he's participating in all activities. Because one thing, 11th and 12th, the children come, everything should be closed, and it should be only books and they cracking IIT, they cracking this. The children these days are looking at different venues, and I think the exposure, the thinking is different, and the parents need a lot of coming out of their own set of understanding. And their own. One side we want them to be thinking individuals, on the other side we want them to be thinking like us only. So that is where I think we need
in fact, at this juncture, I would also like to thank the whole Manav Rachna group, because the way they have been supportive of this program as the director, that what are these transitions, what are these innovations which you are bringing in to the school education?
So Manav Rachna schools are not very old school. We came into being in 2006. And I'm very happy that from 2006 to 2014, every year we have been starting one school, and we have been accepted very well by a community. It was only because of certain innovative practices, our understanding of how children learn, making learning more fruitful for children. So the innovations that we brought in was this only, that we made child-centric education. Our schools are child-centric. If you look at the atmosphere, the classrooms, very inviting, very motivating, open not only for one-way transaction of the children, lot of self-learning happening, and learning centers brought in the early years of children learning. Now learning centers means that the children can learn as per their own likes also. They have their free choice areas, because learning is always not directed. It's self-learning also. And then moving up, we have lot of rigor on academics and tie-ups with international institutions to blend the best practices across the world with their own. Now the practices are blended so well that we have tried to put the ownership of learning on the children. Instead of we keeping the entire responsibility with ourselves, now the child feels responsible.
And let them choose.
Let them choose.
Like what they want, and then let them excel in that.
And Manav Rachna is not limiting itself to the school community or the college faculty. It's reaching across to the community at large, which is a great area of learning. My children, if they want to talk about Earth Day, they're not limiting themselves to the school assembly. It's being taken as a fortnight. They're going to the community as a part of our projects.
And then exploring, like how it can be done in practical life. Sanyukta Sharma ji, thank you so much for giving in your inputs. It's time to understand that the changes which are happening in the education system, am I equipped to understand them? Actually, if I really want to be in my child's life and wants to understand what he's doing and what is happening in his life, I need to be aware of these changes. And at times, I as a parent is not able to let go of my ownership to my child, and at that time spirituality helps. So time now to understand the spiritual significance.
The children who are being born now carry most of their consciousness into the earth realm. They're increasingly empathic and telepathic. They easily recognize other people's moods and emotions. They are not misled by outer behavior that does not truly mirror what is going on within. Their intuitive perception is astute. These children prefer peace. They bring opposing parties together and resolve conflicts. They're idealists. They're inspired by ideals such as equality, fraternity, and respect for nature. But on the other hand, they can easily get restless, daydream a lot, and are unrealistic. At times, these children may be viewed as obstinate, rebellious, and different. Parents and teachers need to understand and open up to the children's different way of experiencing life. The most important quality one needs to mentor these children is the ability to listen and open to new ideas and approaches.
Spirituality gives us an insight actually that where I can be blocking my vision and my thinking. Once I'm able to understand that, okay, this is the way I have to think, this is the way I have to deal, I actually get the freedom. I become free from my own bondages, from my own blockages. And that is the time to map the conflicts. And for that, we move over to mapping the conflicts.
Old belief: children are empty vessels which need to be filled with knowledge and skills.
New belief: I allow my child to find his own path. I don't want to be a dictator or interfere in his or her life.
Solution: the challenge is to awaken and liberate something that is already present within the child. its natural energy and potential that wants to manifest and express itself in the material world.
Old belief: a systematic and ordinate education pattern is required to acquire knowledge.
New belief: free the child, let his intuition guide him, he will find his own way.
Solution: there's a natural tendency in the child to want to learn, to explore, and find out about the world. Preserving and working with the natural eagerness in a child to learn is the foundation of new education.
Old belief: role of the teacher is to impart knowledge and make children study.
New belief: today's teachers need to be all-rounders. They have to have all the skill sets to handle this generation.
Solution: teacher should be present with the child in an open and intuitive way. They need to trust the natural and unique abilities of each child. Then allow the child to lead the way, supporting it by supplying the knowledge and materials it needs to attain his or her goal. It's time to take your leave, but before that, another message for all the parents out there, all the viewers out there, that the way we have been getting the response that they need to know more about these new age schools. So we would very soon be starting with at least one school being featured in the coming episodes, so that we as parents can understand what are the changes which are taking place in these new age schools. So till the time we meet again, enjoy parenting. And before I take your leave, there is another special message from Havaldar Khadak Singh. So stay tuned.
ये है हवलदार खड़क सिंह की सड़क।
ओए रुका ओए त्रिदेव, त्रिमूर्ति, ओए एक बाइक पे 3 हैं। ओए तुम लोगों को शर्म नहीं आती? ओए बाइक एक और एक साथ 3 चढ़े जा रहे हो। और 3 लोगों का जाना अलाउड नहीं है बाइक पे, मालूम नहीं तुमको? ओए अपनी नहीं तो इस बाइक की सोचो, बेचारी 3 के बोझ की मारी।
सर बहुत जरूरी मैच है सर आज।
ओए तुम्हारे मैच की तो ओए एक बाइक पे 3 जा रहे हो और कुछ हो गया तो सीधे हमेशा के लिए क्लीन बोल्ड हो जाओगे। ओए जिंदगी के स्टैंप उखड़ जाएंगे। ओए ये ट्रैफिक है भाई, यहाँ तो कोई फ्री हिट भी नहीं मिलती। ठोको ताली। ओए मुझसे कोई नहीं बच सकता, क्योंकि ये है मेरी सड़क और मुझे कहते हैं हवलदार कड़क।
याद रखें, एक बाइक पर कभी 2 से ज्यादा लोग एक साथ न जाएं। यह एक दंडनीय अपराध है। सड़क सुरक्षा नियमों का पालन करें। ब्रह्मा कुमारी इसके द्वारा जनहित में जारी।
New Age Parenting